Sup team? It me, Sam. Hi friends, it is Sam and I'm here today to talk to you about my sexual orientation, because God knows I've not done enough of that before. So I think it's widely known on the internet that I've been confused about my sexuality pretty much my whole life. I thought that I'd settled on what I like to call the A team. I thought that I was on the aromantic and asexual spectrums? Spectra? I thought I was on those, under those umbrellas, you know? And I was happy. I had such a sense of community, such a sense of self, and then stuff happened. Back in 2019, I released my first video about asexuality because I'd found the term and I identified so strongly with it. I was so happy to have found my label that went hand in hand with aromanticism for me. And for a number of years, I was very happy and stable with those identities. And I think that those labels applied really well to most sort of aspects of my life, most of the relationships I'd ever been in or sought after. But then came like 2021, maybe it was 2020, when I started to play around with microlabels. Microlabels are sort of specific identities under the ace and aro umbrellas. And the microlabel I chose to go with was aroaceflux, which basically means that you fluctuate on both the aromantic and asexual scales. I started to identify this way because I really sat with myself and I thought about how I felt about the people in my life currently then and the people in my life previously. Like, I'd felt romantic attraction to a girl before but never sexual, and I'd been in relationships with guys before but never felt much romantic attraction. With most of the relationships in my life, like, some aspect of attraction was missing. It didn't mean that I didn't like them or that I didn't love them. It's just that nothing really felt complete in terms of being wholly attracted to a person. I started to think a bit deeper about this when I started to feel confusion about a friend I was talking to. I started picturing us in a relationship, and because of that I really struggled with how I identified. I really questioned whether I was aromantic and asexual. Eventually I ended up trying a relationship with that person, which ultimately did ruin a really good friendship. I take full responsibility for how it happened, how it ended. I can't say that I was dishonest with them. I know that I was honest with them, but the fact that I tried to enter into a relationship with them and then I realized that something wasn't clicking, that unfortunately was the end of that relationship and the end of that friendship. And I haven't spoken to them since, but I know that it was the right decision. I know that being in a relationship with that person was not the right thing for me. This led me to start questioning myself all over again. Was I just plain A? Was I just straight up aromantic and asexual? And was I just feeling platonic attraction or aesthetic attraction and getting them confused with romantic and sexual attraction? I didn't know. But not too long later, I started to feel sexual attraction for another person, and I was like, what is going on? I was so confused. This led to a sexual non-romantic relationship with this person, and all was well. I was very comfortable in that relationship, and it was very strange and very new to me because I feel like a sexual barrier had kind of broken down. I've never been particularly comfortable in expressing sexuality with a partner. Not so much caring about being attractive because we weren't romantically involved, and already being friends with the person, so being completely myself. I feel like it really helped me develop sexual confidence. I didn't particularly want to, you know, feel these feelings, but it happened. And this is kind of part of the reason why I stopped making videos. I just at that point got completely confused by my sexuality and my orientations, and I just panicked and decided not to identify as anything anymore, and more or less completely removed myself from social media. I barely tweeted, I barely went on Instagram. All I did was share memes on Facebook to like the people I know in real life. And I feel like that changed me too. I'd been so used to having this community on social media of A and I respect people, and all the acceptance and all the encouragement to spread the word about asexuality and aromanticism, because not many people were spreading the word. And then I kind of removed myself from all that because of all this confusion and the feeling that I was betraying the A team and feeling like a fraud. I completely removed myself from social media because I thought I was going to get judged. I thought I was going to get cast out. Because the internet, let's face it, can be a cruel place. So I took to living life in the real world for a little bit. And I'm not saying social media is a bad thing, but it really can envelop you. So for the last year, I've been surrounded by, I'm gonna be honest, mostly straight cis people. Not to say that they're all straight and cis. I know quite a few LGBT plus people where I live, but it is mainly straight cis people here. And although it didn't remove me from my own queerness, I guess I kind of got the other perspective in a way. I kind of lived amongst the straights, if you will. I guess that in itself kind of made me feel a lot more separate from the A communities, and like I said, I separated myself from labels completely. I dropped all my labels and just identified as unspecified orientation. I believe it's in my Twitter bio. And then the confusion mounted because 2 months into my friends with benefits arrangement, I kind of fell in love with this friend. And along comes romantic attraction. I am in the kind of a metanormative relationship that I've never experienced fully before. All of a sudden, all of my attractions line up and are projected onto this one precious human being that I wish to call mine forever. And in the middle of all this, I was writing a book about aromanticism. Throughout the book, I'm just completely questioning myself, trying to relate myself to these stories about aromanticism, trying to explain how exactly I feel, how I felt in the past. The last chapter is kind of a self-indulgent, trying to discover my label again, trying to pinpoint exactly who I am. And I guess I didn't really come to a conclusion, but I found myself being okay with that. However, I guess it's something that I need to address on my channel if I'm going to be returning to my channel, because like I said in my life update that I uploaded like 2 weeks ago, most of my following is aromantic and asexual people. And I'm painfully aware of how much I have mentioned my boyfriend in every video I've made since I returned to YouTube. And every time I edit, I'm like, Sam, having a boyfriend is not a personality. But he's such a huge part of my life that I can't not mention him. So what now? In my book, I mention a label called WTF sexual, which kind of does what it says on the tin. And I made a comment that the label felt too slangy for me, so I didn't feel comfortable identifying with it. All respect to anyone who does identify with it. But I did say as well that I kind of felt a little connection to that. It basically means that you don't know where you fall on the romantic and sexual attraction spectrums. It can also mean being unsure what attraction itself is. I also played around with demi-romantic / demisexual with how my relationship developed this time around. Those labels could definitely apply to me. But then it also made me wonder, like, could I still identify with the aroaseflux labels? Because I've mentioned in previous videos that my attraction can fluctuate, but when I feel attraction to a particular person, that doesn't go away. My partner and I were applying for jobs a couple of months ago, and the job application asks you to specify your sexual orientation. And I'm not gonna lie, it still made me very proud anytime asexual was on that list. But I kind of hovered over prefer not to say, because I have not latched onto any more labels as of yet. Basically, this is a long-winded way of saying I don't know where I fit in the LGBT plus community. I've put queer in my channel description, and I've put orientation unspecified in my Twitter bio. I haven't put any sort of orientation in my Instagram. What I do want to say is that I will always be an advocate for the A team. I will always be so proud if I see like an asexual or an aromantic flag in like the background of a TV show. I'll be so happy when asexuals and aromantics are represented fairly in the media and they get their time to shine. In spite of the fact that I have found love and I'm extremely happy, I know that asexuals and aromantics exist and they need everyone's support. They need visibility, and I will always keep the videos up on my channel to educate on aromanticism and asexuality. Maybe I will continue to make videos about it. I don't know. But I wanted to address this before my channel is overrun with relationship stuff. Because, okay, it's not going to take up my entire channel, but it's going to be there. So yeah, I've said my piece, and everyone on the A team has my utmost respect and adoration, and that will never change. With that, I will let you go. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye.